Urgent! Chiellini exposes Arsenal! You won't believe what he said! The legendary Italian defender has just made a strong statement about our Arsenal, generating a real stir on social media. What has he got to say about our defense and the way the team has been performing? Chiellini's words could completely change the course of our season, and believe me, you need to understand what's happening now. Stay with us until the end of this video, because what's coming next will surprise everyone. I'm Guilherme, the owner of the channel Arsenal News Today, the best Arsenal news channel in the world. Today, we're going to unpack this bombshell with all the details that the Red Army needs to know. So make sure you subscribe, hit the bell icon, and don't miss a word, because you'll want to stay updated on all this. Now let's get into it, because Arsenal is at the center of a controversy that's going to make headlines. But before we dive into today's news, just check if you're already subscribed to the channel, as the upcoming videos will be a series of content that will keep you informed about everything related to Arsenal, the Gunners. Activate the notification bell and select the all option so we can send you all the breaking news from behind the scenes at Arsenal. Gunners, we have a like target for this video of 150 likes. In the last video, we hit the target in under an hour, proving that we're true Gunners fans. So go ahead and leave a like so we can smash this target quickly. In a recent interview, Giorgio Chiellini, one of the most iconic figures in world football, revealed something that left many Arsenal fans surprised. The Italian defender, who built a distinguished career at Juventus and in the national team, disclosed that at one point in his career, he was close to joining Arsenal, but the negotiation experience left a bitter taste. Chiellini revealed that although he was initially interested in the idea of moving to London, the approach Arsenal took to bring him to the club did not sit well with him, leading him to turn down the offer. Chiellini's statement has reignited discussions among Arsenal fans, who have always been fascinated by the idea of seeing such a high-quality defensive player as the Italian don the Gunners' shirt. This situation, which occurred in the mid-2000s, also reflects a time of transition for Arsenal, as the club was still adapting to the new Emirates Stadium and looking to strengthen its squad after the departure of key figures like Patrick Vieira and Thierry Henry. The transfer of a young Chiellini seemed like a smart move to bolster the defense, but the unfolding of negotiations was far from ideal. In his interview, Chiellini got straight to the point regarding the details of Arsenal's approach. "I wanted to join Arsenal, but I felt disrespected by the way the negotiations were handled. I didn't like how they tried to sign me," the player said, adding that while there was genuine interest from the Gunners, the approach failed to convey the respect and trust he was looking for. For him, the way he was treated during those discussions was pivotal in his decision to follow his path and eventually join Juventus, where he forged one of the most iconic careers in football history. This episode had lingered in a limbo of rumors for years, with Chiellini always keeping quiet about the subject. Now, as his retirement draws closer, the veteran Italian defender feels comfortable speaking openly about his journey and the details of the negotiations that had long remained a mystery. Many are questioning how Arsenal missed the chance to sign a player who would become a cornerstone in the defense of one of the most successful national teams in history. Juventus, which capitalized on this opportunity, ultimately reaped the rewards of a signing that proved fruitful. But what exactly did Chiellini mean by disrespect? For him, the lack of professionalism in the negotiation was key to his decision. He spoke about how those in charge at Arsenal at the time treated the proposal as something impersonal, and in the end, communication between the parties was unsatisfactory. "They could have shown more interest in me as a player and as a person," Chiellini explained. This reflects a failure in how transfer dealings were handled, something that has repeatedly been a criticism of clubs like Arsenal in past years. Such accounts spark reflections on Arsenal's management style during the years when Chiellini could have been a reinforcement. In the 2000s, the club was on a growth trajectory under Arsène Wenger, but also faced challenges in the transfer market. The focus was often on promising young players or strategic acquisitions, but Arsenal missed opportunities to strengthen decisively. Chiellini, who was on the rise at the time, could have been a world-class defensive pillar, something that the Gunners desperately sought during that period. Looking back, many wonder how Arsenal might have been different had they signed Chiellini back then. The player's youth and his development at Juventus pointed to a bright future, and his presence at the Emirates could have provided the team with a solid defensive foundation. On the other hand, the way the club handled this negotiation seems to have been a strategic error, affecting the chance for one of the greatest defenders of his generation to join the team. As the years passed, Chiellini continued to achieve great things, winning multiple Serie A titles and the Champions League, in addition to being a mainstay in the Italian national team's defense. His story at Juventus is filled with success, and he became a symbol of resilience and leadership. However, the fact that he rejected Arsenal, which at the time was also undergoing a transitional phase and facing some financial difficulties, raises the question of how the club could have strengthened itself to better compete with European giants and perhaps even win the Champions League sooner. In a parallel scenario, Arsenal continued to seek solutions for their defense, making some notable signings, but many of them never reached Chiellini's level. Wenger's management style always focused on finding young talent and developing players, but this misjudgment in the negotiation with Chiellini remains a prime example of what could have been but wasn't. Now, with the rise of new talents in the team, many are questioning what the future holds for Arsenal in the transfer market. The departure of some veterans and the introduction of promising young talents brings a different dynamic to the team. But is the club learning from past mistakes? Arsenal today seems stronger than ever, but does it still bear the scars of poorly managed transfers from the past? Chiellini, on the other hand, appears comfortable with the choices he has made in his career, and looking back, he may feel he was right to turn down Arsenal. However, the question remains, could today's Arsenal, under Mikel Arteta's new era, attract world-class figures like Chiellini to their squad? With a renewed project focusing on quality and a winning mentality, perhaps Arsenal in 2024 will have a different approach to securing top signings, ensuring that opportunities like Chiellini's do not slip away again. Chiellini's story also serves as a reflection for other major clubs that may have missed valuable chances to bolster their defenses with world-class players. Misjudgments can be costly, and the way negotiations are handled can determine a team's success or failure in a season or even an entire cycle. Today, the Gunners have a much more strategic work philosophy, but one wonders, with greater respect and awareness of the past, could Arsenal have been even more competitive? Chiellini's remarks, now public, are sure to spark much debate among Arsenal fans, who have long dreamed of big names in their defense. While Juventus thrived with Chiellini, Arsenal continued to try and balance their squad with players of different characteristics. What remains is the opportunity to learn from the past and avoid repeating the same errors. Who knows, in the future, Arsenal may shine in the transfer market once again, not only with promising young talents, but also with legends who could have been part of the club's history long ago. Still, Chiellini's story illustrates that even among great clubs, the difference can lie in how players are treated. At Arsenal, perhaps a mentality of respect and a sharper vision for negotiating with football legends is what has been lacking to make a difference. It's intriguing to consider that, given the current landscape, Chiellini may have just been one of many names that could have been part of a victorious Arsenal in the past. And so, Arsenal fans, Chiellini's story is just another reminder that the club has had golden opportunities that slipped through its fingers. Imagine if that young defender had chosen to don the Gunners' jersey back then. Arsenal's history could be completely different today. More titles, greater defensive consistency, perhaps even more Europa League appearances, and who knows, maybe even a Champions League. What do you think? Is Arsenal still making the same mistakes in the transfer market? Or with Mikel Arteta at the helm, do we now have a sharper mindset to secure world-class players? I want to hear your opinion. We cannot overlook the magnitude of what could have been and the impact that a simple negotiation failure has had on the club's future. With Arteta, are the Gunners finally on the right path, or are we merely waiting for the next great opportunity to slip away? Comment below and don't forget to subscribe to the Arsenal News Today channel, hitting the notification bell because here you won't miss anything about what's happening with Arsenal. Be sure to check out our playlist with all the latest news, blockbuster transfers, and controversial analyses about the team. The future is now, and if you don't stay tuned, you'll miss what's coming up. We'll see you in the next video, because Arsenal never stops making headlines. See you next time, Red Army.